Double game week 34 has been announced. Now, I know international break has had you sleeping. It's definitely had me KO'd. The deadline is fast approaching. We don't have many transfers before game week 34, which means the transfers are so precious. Hence why in this video, I'm going to bring you top 3 transfers you need to consider for this game week. They're not only the best transfers for this week, but they also help you plan for game week 34. I've also got a quick look at game week 34 in total, so the fixtures, the best doubles, which teams to target, and I'm going to give you a quick preview in how my team's looking for game week 34. Now, if that sounds good, do me a favor, drop a like, subscribe, share the video. Also, press that bell icon so you know when my video lands. On that note, let's get into it. Let's have a quick look at the double game week 34 fixtures. Now, the Premier League has just announced them, which is pretty good because the international break had me sleeping. So this has got the FPL juices going again. Having a quick look, there's some teams I want to target more than others. Naturally, let's start with Arsenal. Challenging for the Premier League, one of the best teams, the highest scorers, best defenders. We need to be tripled up in this game. It's as simple as that. Wolves away and Chelsea at home. Both good fixtures, especially for a team. And this is an elite team, one of the best teams in Europe. So you have to be tripled up. For me, that's a non-compromise. Whether you go double defense, one attack, or one defense, double attack. Your choice. And how you get there, depending on your team currently now, it's up to you, but I think it's a triple up, non-negotiable. Next up, we got Bournemouth. Some of us already have Bournemouth assets for the last double. It's a reminder of how they're not a great team, isn't it? You might have Solanke. Apart from that, you might have a defender. But yeah, one is more than enough for me personally. I mean, if you're using a chip like a free hit, it's up to you. You could gamble with 2, but realistically 1 to cover Solanke. Simple. They've got Aston Villa away, Wolves away, 2 away fixtures as well. Not even that great. Crystal Palace, a team I've not really targeted this season. They've got a couple of nice players, whether it's Eze and Elise. They've been injured. Their form's hit and miss. We know Roy got fired. They've got the new manager in place, but I've not really looked at them. But for a double like this, West Ham at home, not Newcastle at home. So it's 2 fixtures, lovely, both at home. But again, who to get from them? This one's one you wait to nearer to the game week, and if there is a slot in your team, you could bring someone like Eze in. Everton, again, relegation candidates, really struggling. Do you really want to target them? I know double game weeks get us hyped, but they've got Nottingham Forest at home, which is a nice fixture. Then it's the Merseyside derby, Liverpool turning up. You don't want no players in that fixture there. For Nottingham Forest, if you've already got an Everton player like Braithwaite, for example, you can keep him and hope you get something. Liverpool, of course, minimum is a double up, I think a triple up like Arsenal, challenging for the Prem, elite team, incredible stats. They've got Fulham away, who Fulham are not mugs, but still, and Everton away. 2 away fixtures, one at Anfield would have been gorgeous. We know Liverpool's home record is delicious, but unfortunately they haven't got one. But guess what? I'm still going to put my hand up. I will have more than likely triple Liverpool players in my team. Sheffield United, you'll be I won't say, I was about to say a psychopath, but you'll be, yeah, pretty close actually if you're going to own double or even a single Sheffield United player for this fixture. No. Wolves, they are someone you can consider. Maybe 1, maybe 2 if you're using a chip. If you're not using a chip, maybe 1, depending who's fitting that team. I know they were decimated with injuries. Their whole front 3 got destroyed, actually. Injuries, the recent one is Neto of the hamstring injury. So Arsenal at home, Bournemouth at home. So 2 home fixtures. Arsenal, not a great fixture at all. So that one's almost, that's the bonus fixture. But you're looking at Bournemouth at home, decent fixture. So Wolves is something you could work with. As you can see, it's a bumper game week. The only thing we need to consider before we get really, really excited, you need to look at the fixtures in between. A lot of these teams will have other cup games, or they're playing in 3 days, every 3 days. So there could be rotation as well. So bear that in mind. My take on that is when you're bringing in the players, I think you need to look at the players who are almost locked. So we all know there's certain teams, they have players who are more rotation proof than others, if that makes sense. I know you know, you're all football managers, you watch Premier League hard. I think we need to target those players. And I'm going to tell you in the next section about the top 3 players and the reason why we should target them. The first transfer we're going to look at is Mohamed Salah. Oh yes, I can't wait to bring him back in. Now, I normally own him every season. He's just a guaranteed in my team. I don't care what the fixture is, who they're playing. But recently he picked up an injury. It's very rare he picks up injuries as well. It's one of his best attributes. Plays every minute of every game. But he did. So he came back a little bit early against Brentford, which he performed incredibly in his little cameo performance. But then, unfortunately, as he came back a bit too early, picked up another. It was a reoccurrence of that injury. Fortunately, he's had a lovely rest. The Egyptian FA have given him the international break, which means he's just sitting back at Liverpool, training, getting fit. So this is good news for Liverpool, but good news for us FPL managers bringing him in, because he's going to be ready to attack the remainder of the season. Now, I know he's 13.1 million, it's expensive, but guess what? Sell who you need to sell to bring him in. And I'll tell you why. The fixtures. Brighton at home, gorgeous fixture. Sheffield United at home. I mean, these two home back-to-back games, it's just ridiculous. It's going to be very difficult if you don't own him. Now, we know in FPL no one's essential, but in my mind, I'm not going into these 2 game weeks without him. I'll tell you that right now. Anyone will get sold. It's a dangerous time in my team. If you're sitting in my team now, you know you're in danger. You could be sold. Anyone will get it when it comes to Salah. So he's coming in, okay? Man United away is the 3rd fixture. Gorgeous fixtures. I know Manchester United can be tricky. I mean, Ten Hag's got a decent record against Klopp, actually. When I had a little look at that, I was surprised. Then the double game weeks. So you're bringing him in for these lovely upcoming fixtures, but it's not a waste. You don't have to worry about him. Look at the double game week fixtures. We spoke about that just a little bit earlier on. Fulham away, Everton away. So you're going to need him, but I say bring him in now and enjoy these fixtures. And I will say this, he will be looking to punish the rest of the Premier League. We know how Salah normally finishes the season, and it's great. So captain material as well, okay? The last 5 game weeks, he had a 1, 11, 16, 3 and a 7. So that's 3 returns from 5, decent consistency. 15 goals, 9 assists in 1,815 minutes. That's a ridiculous ratio. And you could tell, I'll tell you, this stat backs that up. He's the 7.6 points he's averaging per match, which is first. Now, there's players with more points than him in FPL, but they haven't done it in as much minutes. Don't forget, he's been injured for a long time, yet he's still the 2nd highest scoring midfielder with 168 points. This is the caliber of player I'm talking about here. Now, it's obvious, most of us know this, but believe it or not, it will be tricky for some to bring him in because the money's spread out in the team. As I said, with Haaland, it might take you a -8 to bring him in. So that's the intriguing one. But for me, he's the top transfer for game week 30. It's a simple, non-negotiable for me. I'm excited to bring him in. Let's have a look at the second transfer. And it's Son. And this is a very interesting one. And the reason it is, I'm going to start with the negative of Son. He blanks in 34. Not only he doesn't double, he doesn't even play. So if you're using a transfer to bring him in now, you're going to need a transfer to take him out because I think it's too expensive to leave on your bench and you're going to want to get a premium double player in. Makes sense. Of course it does. But the reason he's interesting as well, the managers that already own him, do they sell him this game week to bring in a Salah, for example, because he is quite expensive, he eats up a lot of your budget? Or do you keep him and enjoy the Luton home fixture where you can captain him and he could easily outscore everyone in the game? So I think Son's pivotal in the upcoming game weeks because it's going to be difficult for people to own Haaland, Son and Salah. And people are going to want them. Salah for the fixtures and double, Haaland because it's Haaland, and then Son because he's got Luton at home and Nottingham Forest at home in the next 3. And then when you look at Spurs' home record, they've played 14, won 10, lost 4, and under Ange, they're so attacking. He's the 2nd high scoring midfielder alongside Salah with 168 points. So it tells you the caliber of player he is. I know a lot of you already know this. 6.7 is averaging per match, which is 2nd. This time he is after Salah for the average points per game he's producing. Last 5 games, he's had a 2, 17, 7, 2, and a 4. If I'm being generous and give 4 as a return, that's 3 returns from the last 5. So it's okay. 14 goals, 8 assists in 2,073 minutes. Again, we are talking about an elite player with 2 incredible home games coming up. So this is the conundrum he had to be in here because for me, if you've got the luxury of having a transfer, like you don't want Salah this week or you've already got him, you've got money in the bank, you bring Son in. As I said, he's going to be dangerous in these 2 next home games. But he's a tricky one because you're going to want Salah. How do you get him? You don't want to get rid of Haaland, or do you get rid of Haaland? So these are all intriguing variables Son for me brings in, especially as he blanks in 34. So you're going to want to, he's too expensive to bench. So you're going to want to get rid of him. So for me, Son is a quality transfer to bring in. It all depends on your strategy, so your chip strategy, your transfer strategy, and how your team is set up. If you've already got him, you're sitting nicely. So that's my second transfer I'm suggesting. Finally, let's have a look at the last transfer I'm recommending. It's one of my favorite players. It's Martin Odegaard. Now, unrelated to FPL, he is an incredible player to watch. If you ever go to the stadium live, keep an eye on him. His movement, his first time play, his football brain, and technically gifted. It's a blessing for us to have him in the Premier League, honestly. I love watching him play. Top boy. Now, back to FPL. Why is he in this list? He's got Manchester City this week. Of course, that's a horrible fixture. I know this. So the reason he's 3rd, you don't need to go this game week to bring him in. But I do think he's a lovely transfer coming up. And I'll tell you why. Look at the fixtures. So ignore Manchester City. But after that, Luton at home and then Brighton away. two gorgeous fixtures. And then when you back that up with the double game week 34, so again, like Salah, you're bringing in a player who's got nice fixtures now, but also you're ahead of the game because in the double game week 34, you're going to want triple Arsenal. And he's a perfect candidate, especially when you add that rotation chat I was talking about. Some players are much more rotation risk. He's not one of them. The captain plays every minute. Unless they're cruising 4-5-0, he could come off in the 70th minute, but that's okay. We'll take that. The double game week is Wolves away, Chelsea at home. Two good fixtures. For Arsenal, a team arguably with the best defense and best attack, not just in the Prem, maybe in Europe. They're that good, yeah, believe it, yeah. Arsenal scored 70 goals this season. You heard that number correct, 70. They're first, the most highest goal scorers in the Premier League. So you're going to want a piece of their attack. 128 points he's got this season, which is the 10th midfielder. You'd think for a team like Arsenal and a midfielder of his caliber, he should be higher up in that list. But recently, he has stepped up, and you just have to look at his last 5 game weeks. He's delivered 2, 10, 2, 14, 10. Now, that's 3 returns from 5, which is decent. But more importantly, have a look at the double digits. When he returns, it's double digits. It's beautiful. They're game-changing returns. Honestly, they're green arrow returns. So he's looking a really tasty player for the upcoming fixtures and for the double game week. 6 goals, 7 assists in 2,214 minutes. Like I said earlier on, that's not good enough for a player, but he's caliber playing for such a good team. But since the Dubai break, Arteta, whatever he's done is working. They've currently got the best attack. Martin Odegaard is at the heart of it. So for me, when you put that together, he's a quality player, and that's the reason he's my third transfer for game week 30. Now, I will say this, it all depends on your team, who you've already got. So, for example, I already have Odegaard. I don't need to worry about him. I'm pretty happy with that, but I don't own Son and Salah. So my transfers will be focused in that area for this upcoming game week. So remember that, depending on your team setup currently, your transfers and your chip strategy, it could hinder which ones you go for first. But for me, these 3 players I've put in this video are the players I think are vital for this upcoming game weeks. Right, let's have a look at my projected team for double game week 34. How am I doing this? I'm using an app called FPL Team. If you don't know about it, there's something in my description showing you where you can download it. It's the #1 tool for all FPL managers. So basically, this double game week 34 is a perfect scenario. You put your ID in the app, it shows your current team. Then you can start making your transfers and you can visually see how your team's going to look next week, the week after, until you reach 34, or you can go to the end of the season. Now, this helps show you the transfers you're making. Are you happy with them long term, or is it just short term? And it helps in planning. Yes, you can plan without it, but for me, I need the visual. That makes a big, big difference for me when looking at my team. So I have a look at 34. I've made a transfer a week. I didn't take no hits, and I've got 10 doublers. So this gave me enough confidence to think I can get to where I want to get to without taking too many hits or using a chip. And that's what this app is perfect for. So it's in my description so you can download it and get stuck in straight away. Now let's have a look at the team. I've already gone through the game week 34 fixtures earlier on in this video. So you already know which ones I think are the best or the worst, or which ones to target. Ariola still in goal. As it gets closer to game week 34, I could take a hit and change it for a double 34 goalkeeper. But guess what? I'm not sure if I'm going to do that. Defense and goalkeepers this season have been a bit poor. I'm not even sure if I'm going to get a return on my hit, which are -4. I need a goalkeeper at minimum to keep a clean sheet. I don't get much confidence from that, hence why I've not done it in this projected team. After that, I've got Virgil van Dijk. I did say I'm going to triple up on Liverpool, and of course, I've got him in there. I've got loads of money in the bank, so he might be Trent, because I want to attack the double game week. And if I think Trent's going to play both games, I think he's projected to be back before then. So if he's playing 90 minutes in, say, 32, 33, and it looks like he's fit for 34, I will go in there because he's got just a bigger potential, free kicks, set pieces, and he's a goal threat when he inverts in. So he would be in my team. But for now, Virgil's a perfect placeholder. Beside him, I've got the Bournemouth Zebriani. Now, this legend has never scored a goal in the Premier League, and he scored one in the last double game week. So that was a FPL classic moment. To be fair, he'll be on my bench until 34, but as I already own him, I don't need to take a hit for another double game week player. I'll keep him and play him unless he gets injured. Beside him is Gabriel. Don't be alarmed by the yellow flag. It's just showing it because he's currently yellow flagged, but we know that's just the international break injury. Yeah, so don't worry about that. Arsenal, I did say I'll be tripling up on them. So Gabriel, Odegaard, and Saka are in the team, as you could see. No compromise for me. The triple up, it depends on you. You could go, instead of, you could go Havertz instead of Odegaard. You could go Saliba, 2 defenders and 1 attacker with just Saka. It's up to you. But for me, the triple up is a must. Now, as they've scored 70 goals, I want some of their attack. Salah is in. Like I said, he was my first transfer for this game week. He'd more than likely be my captain for that game week. perfect candidate, good fixtures, elite player. So you can see there. Last on the midfield, I've got Eze. I spoke earlier on about not getting too excited about the Palace double game week, but they're both home fixtures. And if he's fit, he's one of the players I would bring in, especially as it's not a hit, and take the gamble. He gets something, he gets a return there. Why not? Let's go up front. Got 3 players there. And the reason I've got so much money, as you can see, Haaland's gone. Cunha's in from the Wolves attack. Let's hope he's fit by then. Poor guy's been injured, but he would be one of my players I'd love to go in. Obviously, it could be another attacker, it could be Muniz for Fulham, for example. We'll see as it gets closer to the deadline, 34 deadline. I don't need to rush that move, but it's just a projected team, and I wouldn't mind a piece of the Wolves attack if I think he's fit. Beside him, we've got Solanke. He's already been in my team. Obviously, Bournemouth had a double game week, so we stacked up on some Bournemouth players. He's the one I think, after the Liverpool triple up, Arsenal triple up, I think I look next at Bournemouth to see if I can get a piece of their attack, and he's the obvious candidate. Most of us already own him, so it's not an issue. And last but not least, is the guy who's given me the most headache this season in football and in FPL, is Darwin Núñez. This guy's a maniac, top player. I owned him when I wildcarded in game week 8. I kept him for such a long time. I didn't get repaid, unfortunately. It's just a combination of bad missing, crossbars, unlucky, and injuries. It just didn't return my investment in him. But guess what? I will be going again. That's my Liverpool triple up. So a defender, Salah, and Núñez. Yes, I will be there. So this team, as you can see, I've got there with no hits. I'll be more than happy with this for the 34. And depending on your strategy, if you're like me, for example, I've still got a wild card, I would use it after this game week, which means players like, say, if I had Cunha or Eze, I don't want to see them again. I'm not going to want Wolves or Everton players. In FPL, we want all our 11, ideally from the top 4 if we can. So that's what I'd be looking to do again, and players with the best fixtures. So these would be dropped, but that depends on your strategy, as I said. So I've got the wild card. If you're using your wild card for this game week, your team would look different. Potentially, you'd have maybe more Chelsea players, because we know Chelsea's going to double twice in the remainder of the season. So just bear that in mind when you're doing your team. But that was a quick look at my projected team. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed that video, but more importantly, I hope you found the video useful. Do me a favor, get in the comments, let me know who you're bringing in this game week. Do you already have the 3 players I've shown you? Are you prepared for game week 34? What chips are you gonna do? Listen, I wanna chat FPL with you. Get in the comments. I'll reply back to all my comments. Now, before you jump off to your next video, drop a like, subscribe, share the video. Make sure you let the other FPL managers know that I'm around. I'm trying to reach my next milestone, which is 400 subscribers. I'm so close, but I can actually only do that with your help. So please, do a good deed, yeah? Anyway, I wish you good luck and see you on my next video.